Okay, this one's been on the back burner for a while because comics versus video games are difficult. Incredibly difficult. So we have Venom, Eddie Brock. This, of course, is the alien symbiote attached to Eddie Brock. Refers to himself as we. It's the two separate entities as one. Alex Mercer is the antagonist slash protagonist of the Prototype series, where he is someone who is killed, then has a virus, which gives him tremendous shapeshifting abilities, the ability to consume other people. So we've got kind of alien virus empowered shapeshifter on one hand, and an alien symbiote enhanced human on the other. This is going to be difficult to try to do, because depending on when you pick Alex Mercer, he can either be at the beginning of a video game, end of a video game, and the amount of transition you make from start to end is huge. You see a lot more in that because it's a linear story told by one individual, where for comics, they're linear stories, but they're told with rapidly different writers, artists, and powers can be all over the place. So we'll try the best that we can. Intelligence. Hear me out on this, hear me out on this. Well, the fact that Alex Mercer had a very high intellect when he was just regular Alex Mercer. After he went to the morgue, came back with the newfound power, a lot of his memories were gone, even though he does have the ability that through the virus, quote unquote, he can absorb individuals' biomass and then gain lots of their intelligence, their abilities. It's kind of one of those, depending on where you pick the character at, he's either more intelligent or he's less. With Eddie Brock, ironically, they recently added the idea that the alien symbiote actually has a pretty good memory and actually gives Eddie Brock a good amount of intelligence. Fine ability, also gave it to Eddie Brock. And this is because you're looking at someone who didn't have fighting experience, and Alex Mercer, who is now using these powers, and it's almost all instinctive. Versus Eddie Brock, who's had a lot more time and development of his abilities. He actually has a slight martial arts background. Strength. Hear me out? Alex Mercer is about a 25,000 pound character, depending on if he decides to increase his strength. Where Eddie Brock, Venom, has been able to hold off someone like Juggernaut. Of course, he was enhanced during that time, but he's normally in about the 50 to 75 range, dependent upon writer. Speed. You look at height and agility with Alex Mercer, as well as the fact that he actually has an amount of almost bullet timing speed. You don't see that as much with Venom. Venom does have the overall increased ability when it comes to agility. He doesn't really have a high speed when it comes to running, where you do see that a little more with the Alex Mercer character. Vulnerability. Small arms fire, both these guys, doesn't really do anything. When it comes to slashing weapons, again, relatively immune. Once you start getting into larger caliber weapons, grenades, well, also you're starting to affect Eddie Brock some. It's not really hurting him a lot, but it is impacting him and doing damage. Where, reading through about Alex Mercer, he's getting to the point where he's taking tank shells, as well as the ability to increase his overall shielding capabilities. So he all of a sudden is taking significantly larger arms fire. At the same time too, anything heat or microwave or sonic based is going to do a number on Venom. That's just what the alien symbiote actually has traditionally been weak to. Durability. Eddie Brock does have the ability to come back and heal, something faster than a human. He's not quite the Wolverine level of regeneration. Alex Mercer, being a shapeshifter, actually hits a really strong level of being killed to a large degree of body damage and make him put himself back together again, which is something you really don't see in Venom. The additional abilities that we see with Alex Mercer. The shapeshifter gives him the ability to do large tendril attacks, which I would put the ability to do a tendril attack very similar to what we see with Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock also has the webbing, okay? But we're not really seeing him do lots of true shape-shifting when it comes to what he can do with the symbiote at a distance. Versus Alex Mercer, where we're seeing him use things where it's like a hammer fist, blades, seeing him actually put his tendrils under the ground and attack individuals. We're seeing him do a lot more variation because his abilities aren't actually that of a shapeshifter. In versatility, again, he's a shapeshifter. The abilities that he has access to are incredibly, incredibly vast. Where you have the ability to actually absorb individuals. The fact that he can do a full and complete idea of changing himself entirely. I mean, he's got a tremendous level of abilities, whether it's, you know, adjusting biomass, making claws. It's what he can do is just insane. If anything, someone like Alex Mercer being a biomass adjustable shapeshifter, it almost puts him in that range where he's kind of like the lower end of, what's that, like a Martian Manhunter. Because as you get better with shapeshifting, especially with his style of shapeshifting, and it being predominantly done for offensive with some light defensive capabilities, it's incredibly impressive what one can do with this. And of course, as being a video game, the limits are, okay, what is needed to get through this area? If he needs wings, he can make wings. If he wants to make a giant hammer, giant hammer. If he wants to do tendrils, he can do tendrils. If he wants to do a claw through the ground, if he wants to do a claw to go around a corner, it's all there because his abilities are a much wider open canvas. Now I'm an X Factor. I'm giving the X Factor to Eddie Brock. Them some specific in this one. Because knowing that Alex Mercer can absorb biomass, I can see him absorbing the Eddie Brock biomass. But do I think that the virus that he has can take over the alien symbiote, or the alien symbiote in actuality end up taking over the human host? I picture the symbiote actually taking over the human host. Does that mean that means the Venom entity wins, but Eddie Brock himself loses? So therefore you have a new Venom. So with the character as stated, Venom Eddie Brock no longer exists because Eddie Brock has been absorbed. But the Venom entity lives on, but it'd be Venom Alex Mercer. But I do think just given the skills that Alex Mercer has capabilities to and what he has access to, I think Venom, if this is a fight earlier on in the game, Venom can probably do a number and probably defeat him. As he gets farther and farther along in this development of powers, Venom's going to hold his own fairly well, just because he's going to have a pretty good strength advantage, he's going to have a better fighting advantage, and he's going to have a little more intelligence because he gets to pull from the reserves of the alien symbiote itself. But everything else goes to Alex Mercer.